Well, thank you so much, Dr. Fauci, for that introduction. And hello, Richard, and congratulations.
Anna, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Looking forward to our conversation.
You talk about global health and human rights as linked. How do you explain to people why you say that and what it means to you?
My starting point is always the beginning of the Enlightenment. If you go back to the Enlightenment, the purpose of acquiring knowledge, putting knowledge together, synthesizing knowledge, wasn't just to create a dictionary in Diderot's terms. It was actually to bring knowledge to bear for social progress. And what interests me is how we revivify that original idea of knowledge as an instrument for social progress. And at the heart of that is the idea of health as a human right and actually science as a right for every citizen, to take part in science, but also to be the beneficiary of the products of science. And we couldn't be living in a time more relevant to rethink the way those rights are applied in our global society.
Now we're in this situation where the discussion is around vaccine equity. Last summer, you predicted that the richest and most powerful countries would be in a race to buy up all the vaccines. So nearly a year later now, how do you judge how the vaccine distribution has played out around the globe?
You know, Anna, right now, this is the worst moment in the pandemic, not the best moment. We're thinking about opening up our societies, our economies are going to grow this year, but actually from a global perspective, the situation is devastating and getting worse. You know, the prediction is that by August the 1st, over 1 million people will have died from COVID-19 in India alone. Over 1 million people. Now that isn't a tragedy, it's a human catastrophe. And what is the world doing to come together?
And what do you see them doing to come together to prevent that?
We're not coming together. We are producing hundreds of millions of doses of vaccine around the world. We have enough vaccine available if we distributed it to the right place at the right time, the most vulnerable people. So we have this terrible fracturing of the world where countries that are able to pay for vaccine are doing so, but not recognizing that the true solution is going to be to vaccinate all peoples in all countries. So it's a very much a me first approach, and it's an approach that will ultimately fail. And we will see literally millions of people die unnecessarily because of that approach.
What unique role do you see the organization playing when it comes to human rights and health, a role that may be different than what other organizations either can do or do now?
I don't know of any other organization than Physicians for Human Rights that makes that connection between the human rights community and health in the way that PHR does. One of the lessons of the AIDS pandemic was that in order to prevent and protect the health of individuals, you have to have a human rights-based focus. Human rights are instruments that genuinely protect individuals from harm. And the only organization that exists that embodies that at its heart in a pure way is Physicians for Human Rights. And I'm afraid that the work of PHR is going to only become more important in the future because of the setbacks we've seen during the past year.
Richard, I know how busy you are. The pandemic had on top of that. I know that you've been dealing with some personal struggles, and I'm just really curious as to what drives you, what motivates you to keep going at the pace you're going?
You know, this past couple of years, I've had one or two health challenges myself. I must say that I have a respect and admiration for health workers that I've acquired over the past couple of years that I had not had before. When you're on the receiving end of care, you come to appreciate how important human touch is, caring for people, just being there. And that fundamental empathy that we have one for another is at the heart of what the health system is. So if you ask what drives me right now, it is that belief that care and love and touch and compassion and empathy are at the heart of who we are as human beings. And that's what human rights stands for. It's something very, very fundamental about the nature of life itself.
Richard, thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna.